Yo, what's up, Tuna?
My man, what's going on, Simon? Everything good?
Yeah. I'm doing good. I'm just enjoying a nice
Good.
cold day in the Bay. I'm not really a winter boy, so I'm a little sad, but
Hey, man, you see
you
I'm
know.
bundled up over here in Philly too, man. In Philly.
We'll see. No, in Philly it's actually cold. Like y'all
Right,
actually have snow over here. It's like a cool 50 degrees, and I'm like complaining.
right,
It's
right.
it's a different game for sure.
That's for sure. That's for sure. So, man, listen, I appreciate you coming out here. Welcome to a Wild Tuna exclusive. For everyone tuned in, Simon Lunche is in the building, and I was told that there's nothing special about the last name, but it's a dope last name. You know what I'm saying? People always ask me about my last name. They always add a little A at the end of it. But it is what it is.
Yeah. No, everyone thinks it's like Lunche or like something like fancy European, and I'm just like, I gotta tell them that it's just lunchtime. And you would think that I would get like lots of shit for that, right? Like in school, but like it never came up. Like
Right. Hey,
I'm just lunch, and that's it.
hey, man, ain't nothing wrong with it. So first thing first, man, let's talk about, you jump into the music industry, man. When you really first picked up a guitar, I see your tagline is I spent my college tuition on the guitar. Is that true?
It's 100% true. I mean, when I graduated high school, I knew like forever that I was gonna go full commit, and I wanted to tour as much as I could, and I wanted to
Right.
make records, and I was already doing that sort of through high school. Just obviously, I couldn't do it 100% of the time because I was
Right.
going to class. But when I graduated, I I remember thinking like, how can I like have that moment of just like I can't turn back from this, just full
Right.
commit moment, and that was it for me. I went on to become a solo artist, and I got the guitar that I always wanted my whole life, and
Yeah.
spent all my college tuition on it.
So what guitar was it? What'd you get?
It's a 1956 Fender Stratocaster that I found in Seattle,
Okay.
um, and one of my good friends who's much older than me had a 55 Strat that I had played all the time. He would let me borrow it to make, for records and stuff when I was recording, and
Right.
I always just thought like, man, like someday I'll be able to buy one of these guitars. Um, and sure enough, that day came a little bit sooner than I thought, and I
Yes.
was just like, it's funny because I was scared to do it. I was like, man, like I love this instrument. Like, should I go for it? And it was my dad when I was 18 years old who was like, what else are you gonna spend this money on? I was like, nothing. He was like, well, then don't just let it sit. Buy the guitar. You know you can play it.
Right.
And I've never regretted it since then. I play that guitar every day.
Right.
It's shaped my sound in a lot of ways.
Mhm.
It's just an inspiring instrument. And it's like my best friend. Like it's that
Right.
thing you can always return to and like know everything's okay in the world. So
That's for sure, man. Now,
yeah.
I gotta ask, did you keep it all the way authentic? Did you modify it in any way when you got it? Did you build or add any additions to it?
I love these questions because there's the purists out there that obviously don't want to change anything about it. All I did is a few, because it's an old guitar, it's like
Right.
older than my parents. So a few of the, I want to say it was the tone knob, one of the tone knobs and the
Okay.
volume knobs were a bit sticky.
Okay.
And they weren't moving exactly how I wanted them to. And for on stage, I need them to be quick and smooth. So I had my guitar tech replace the tone knob and
Okay.
the volume knob on it when I first got it. But other than that, it's all original. It's stayed exactly how it was when I bought it. Like
Right.
it's just a beautiful instrument. I'm scared. I'm scared to mess with it too much, but it's got character. It's
Right.
not
That's
perfect.
real.
It's not perfect, but that's what makes it
That's
beautiful.
what makes it. Right.
Right.
That's true,
Right.
man. I gotta appreciate that. So talk to me about some of the people you were listening to that inspired you. Maybe a couple bands that you were really into that once you seen you're like, yeah, I want to do that. Like, what made you really
Yeah.
make that step?
I mean, when I was really young, like I was just surrounded by tons of great music. I'm lucky to grow up in a family that loves it.
Right.
But and I always say this, but it really wasn't until I heard Eric Clapton play guitar
Okay.
that I was like, I want to play that instrument. Before, like we had this piano sitting in the house, and
Yeah.
I always loved music, but like I never had the drive to play it. And it was when I heard you know, that guitar playing when I was like 5 or 6 years old, that I was just, you know, I was totally enamored,
Right.
and was like, I have to do that. But, you know, growing up, I loved the Beatles so much. I love Bob Dylan for his lyrics so much, you know, like, you know, just for being so poetic.
Right.
Nowadays, I mean, there's so many people nowadays, like, when you talk about migrating into the pop world, like, I love Leon Bridges. I love, you know, just like that old school vintagey sound that he has, and like that
Yeah.
Texas like thing, but it's like also sort of made modern by the newer production. It's just so good. I love John Mayer. I love I mean, even like, and I'm not a fan of country, but like the Casey Musgraves record that came out a while ago,
Okay.
like
Okay. I
that
got to
won the
listen to
Grammy.
that.
Yeah, it's, I didn't think I would like it, to be honest with you. And I listened to that, I was like, wow, like
It was it.
yeah, it did it for me. I mean, honestly, anything that I can feel, you know, because music
Right.
for me is just, it's just about feeling. So if I
Right.
can feel it and it hits me, like,
That's what it is.
I'm all for it. I'm all for it.
That's for sure. That's for sure. So, you know, coming up, and you named a lot of big names there, you know, as your inspirations. Did you ever feel like, you know, you will get to the point where it's like, I want to do a collab with these people, I'm ready to do a collab, or, you know, did you ever get to that point, or you just like, nah, just leave the legends where they at?
I mean, if the opportunity ever came to me, like, I don't think I could say no to it. But at the same time, you know, I'm definitely very much trying to just be myself. I try
Mm-hmm.
and, you know, like there's that, you know, saying, it's like brilliance borrows, genius steals. And I feel like I've stolen enough little tiny things from like all of these different people and these different kinds of artists that I've listened to
Right.
sort of make my own big mashup pot of all that stuff. But I mean, listen, if any of those people that I named, you know, approached me about anything creative, even if it wasn't a song, even if it
Yeah.
was, you know, I would do it, just because it's like, I love everything that they make.
Right. Right.
So
Yeah, I would do it too. I don't play guitar, but I would try.
right, I love it. I love it. I mean, what can, in that situation? I feel like you just say yes and you go for it.
Right, right. That's for sure. So let's talk about some of your, you know, recent music. I checked out your YouTube. I seen some of the covers you were doing, but I saw a music video up there too that I like. Let's talk about that. You dropped it about a month ago, I believe.
Yeah. I had it's funny. I did two music videos like in quarantine that were supposed to be like bigger videos that,
Hmm.
of course, because of COVID, didn't really pan out. And what was interesting about that is, especially, I mean, the first one, but the second one too, funny enough, I feel like because we were so restricted in terms of what we could do, it almost was more reflective of the
Hmm.
album making process, because so much of this record was like me sitting in my studio just like experimenting and like being alone, and like it was, you know, it's 2 a.m. and I'm just like up all night, and just that vibe of like real solitude.
Right,
And obviously then COVID comes along, and it's like you can't go film a video and do some crazy stuff. um, and the videos ended up, because of that, being so reflective of the vibe that I actually had making the record,
right,
that I thought it was kind of cool. You know, I was like,
right,
you know, maybe it's not as pristine or as perfect as what we would have made, but it's
right.
still, it feels very me. Um,
Yeah,
so I'm just, you know, I just want to communicate to people like what my vibe is, what my life is like, you know, how I make music and why I make music. And I feel like, despite, you know, not having everything I would have wanted for those videos, they're still very representative of that, maybe even in a way that they wouldn't have been otherwise. So
hmm,
I thought that was really cool. I was really happy with how they turned out, but they were definitely a a different sort of more ragtag process making them than I thought they would be
right,
before this
right.
happened. But I'm glad you dug them. I'm glad you caught the vibe of it.
Yeah, yeah, it's always dope because like we as a you know, consumer, you know, as a fan, we see the finished product. So, you know, you explaining
Right.
how it didn't turn out all the way that the way you wanted to, but it still worked to us. It's like, yeah, this video is perfect. You never know the backstory of the final product.
Exactly.
So that's dope.
Exactly. That's why it's like, I mean, right. I feel like it's sometimes I can get so much like to be such a perfectionist, and I'll be messing with every little thing, and then I have to come back to, you know, it's just
Right.
about the feeling, and if people can feel it, you know, like that's really what
That's what
matters.
counts. That's what counts.
So
And that's the best thing about music is literally you don't even have to know the language of the person
right,
speaking, but you can feel what they're saying. You know, you can feel the
right.
vibe in the song.
It's just a universal language. I
Right.
mean, like people can feel melodies, people can feel rhythm, you
Hmm.
know, even if you don't understand the lyrics, it's like it's still, if it gives you that thing that makes, you know, triggers something inside of you and makes you go, oh yeah, I can relate to that. I can feel it. It's that's so good, you
Right.
know. It doesn't matter.
Right.
Uh,
So
yeah.
we got a question down here from one of our fans, my guy Fontaine, a great producer up in Newark right now, upstate New Jersey. So he says you got an actor aura. Do you ever think about getting any movies?
You know, it's funny because I was thinking back recently to when I was younger, and I was like way into so much creative stuff when I was younger, not just music, but like I loved acting. Like when I was younger, I would
Right.
do a bunch of acting stuff, like acting classes, and like I did a few commercials when I was younger and stuff. And even the group that I was in actually like did some acting stuff with my old band. And I kind of just phased out of it because I was so focused on music, and like
Yeah.
just my drive for music is daily, and like I wake up thinking about it, I go to bed thinking about it. But that being said, I was funny because I was just thinking like, man, if I got to, you know, the place that I want to get to in life where I'm feeling good
Yeah.
about everything musically, and I have a moment to explore like potentially doing some acting stuff, it's definitely something that I would want to, you know, mess with if the opportunity arose.
Right.
So I definitely don't rule it out. Like I definitely
Right.
have a little bit of a history there, and I definitely had a lot of fun with it.
Yeah, for
Uh,
sure, for sure. Now, would you go with an action movie, or would you
oh,
do the thing that you know you get the ladies if you do you know you do one of
mm,
the love stories? You know what I'm saying? Which one you rocking?
which one?
Yeah.
I mean, listen, my songs are pretty soft. My songs are pretty. So I feel like everyone would expect me to say that, or at least like my fans would expect me to say that. But that being
Right.
said, like I feel like if I tried, I could pull off a convincing action hero.
Okay.
Um,
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I can see you.
I have to put on the hard demeanor for a second, you know.
Right. Right. Yeah. You just got to jump in your actor bag. That's all. Just you know.
That's hella funny. No one's ever asked me that, but I have thought about that. It's like it seems fun. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like,
Yeah, yeah. I always, you know, I always admire actors because, you know, they really, especially with some of these roles, you really got to dive into,
oh
you know,
yeah,
the character. So to be able to do that, I gotta commend them. You know, if you get a movie role or if I hear
hard
something, I'm
work.
gonna give you a call and we're gonna jump
Yeah,
on
yeah,
this
yeah,
movie.
yeah. Give me a call. You know I'm down. You know
That's a
I'm
bet.
down.
That's a bet. So let's talk more about, you know, the music and what you got planned and what you got coming up.
Yeah.
Any features or collabs that you may be working on?
Collabs, not at the moment, although that's honestly just because the COVID situation.
Right, right.
um it's funny, I was supposed to be touring right now. like i was
Oh man.
I was so looking forward to like finishing my record, which I had worked on for like 2 years, and I was like, I'm ready to be a social butterfly
Right,
and, you
right.
know, go talk to people, because making a record is such a, you know, even if you've got like, you know, other producers around you and
Hmm.
other musicians or whatever, like it's a pretty solitary process, you know, when you think about like
It
long
is.
nights in the studio, like you're with 3 4 people most of the time. So I was thinking like I'm so ready
Just to
just
get
to get
out
out of my
there.
comfort zone and talk to a bunch of people and whatever. But um despite that not happening, I mean, I've spent so much of this time like, which it's funny, I tried not to. I thought to myself, the first day of quarantine, I'm thinking like, all right, I'm not gonna get back on Pro Tools. Like
Right.
I'm gonna give myself like at least a month and a half. And sure enough, like 4 days in, like I've got an idea and I'm back on there. You know, like
Right. It's
uh,
addicting. It's addicting. I
it
know.
totally is. Like I mean, you know how it is. Like you think about that stuff all the time. Like
Yeah.
ideas are circulating. Like you don't want to let them get stale.
Right.
So
Especially
I've been
when
on
you
Pro.
have the setup at home, when you can just roll
Oh
over out of bed and
yeah,
you can
no,
just be
yeah.
like, yo, let me lay this little 4 bars down real quick.
It's been a listen. It's been a blessing and a curse to like have the setup, because it's true. Like
Yeah.
you can like wake up at 10 in the morning or whenever, and just go straight into the studio, turn on the mic, turn on all the stuff, and just be like ready to roll. And you could be in there and not eat food all day,
All
and like
day.
it'll get to be 2 in the morning, and you're like, well, shit, like I better have like some pizza or something, you know, like. But yeah, honestly, that's been a lot of my days recently, and I've got like, man, I'm probably sitting on like 15 demos now, which is cool. I just did a kind of a big project virtually with a few of my with my mixing engineer and with two of the musicians that I worked on this record with. We just did something for like this piece of Christmas content that I've been working up that I'm super excited about.
Right.
So that was fun to like get to work with people a bit, you know. So honestly, it's funny to say, but like, despite me just releasing a lot of music since I've been cooped up in this house, like the next thing that's coming is just way more music.
Right.
You know,
but that's what they need, man. More music. You know, people got time to sit down and listen.
Right.
And you know, even though taking a hit on the tours is, you know, unbelievable. We never would have thought about that. But what are you doing in spite of that? What are you able to do? You know, whether it's reaching out to your fans online or whether you do, you know, I know you're doing your covers on YouTube, but what else you got going on to just keep your fans active with what you got going on?
We've got a few cool things that we've been doing. You know, it's all sort of like you're experimenting because no one's been in the situation, but I've done some really cool little like virtual shows for some of the venues I was supposed to play.
Right.
To be fair, you know, it is a little weird, like when you can't see anyone, even if they're like, you know, they're sending you the little hearts and stuff on the side of the screen. Like I'm sitting there playing guitar. But that's been fun, you know, just to like keep everyone engaged. And then I've had a lot of fun doing, you know, we've been doing these like contests for my record release, and like we'll do like these little private like sessions with a bunch of fans who win those, which is cool. So I've gotten to play them some songs and also like talk to them a lot more than I probably usually would be able to at a show. That's been interesting too, you know, because obviously at a show it's like song, and then at the end of the night you get to talk to a few people maybe, and then it's done. Whereas this has been cool to have like a smaller group of people in each one, and like, you know, people can request certain songs that they want to hear, or like even like I had one with some people in completely different countries, which like obviously I wasn't even gonna be doing international touring anyway now, so that was cool just to be able to interact with people like that, you know, and be able to share some music. So yeah, we've been doing a lot of stuff in spite of the touring not being here, but you know, as you know, it is a shame, and it's hard not to be out there with a full band and you know, with all that energy. Like it's just
that's the thing that's so crazy, is like having that energy just anywhere in whatever role you play in the concert, whether you're the artist, the stage manager, running the lights, sound, whatever. It's like everyone gets that energy, you know, everyone's there and they feel that energy, and it's like, wow, we went a whole year without that. Like
I know, for real. Like it's that like that connection that like makes you feel so good, you know, whether you're on stage or in the audience, or like you said, even like if you're at the mixing board, like just and like feeling the vibration of like all of the sound coming through the floor, and like you know, just at the end of the night having your ears blasted out. there's something really beautiful about all those things that obviously we're all just missing, which when it comes back it's gonna be beautiful.
That's for sure, man. Definitely. So listen, again, I gotta tell you, I'm a fan of yours. I gotta commend you for everything you're doing. You know, great investment, great choice picking that guitar over your college tuition. It's not, you know, I'm not going to tell my kids that all the time, but if they choose not to, I'm going to let them know, look, Simon did it, and it was all good.
I love it. Listen, like, parents who support their kids' dreams are like the unsung heroes of everything. So
right. Especially when we got people like you to back it. So you know what? Go ahead. Simon did it. It's good. You know what I'm saying? Let's do it.
Hell yeah.
That's dope, man. Listen, I appreciate you coming out here for another Wild Tuna exclusive. Simon Lunche is in the building. We definitely gonna be in touch, man. Hopefully it warms up over there for you. It's gonna be cold over here.
Yeah, so. Most definitely, man. Hey, likewise, likewise. Stay healthy, stay safe. Thanks so much for
Likewise.
having me on. I appreciate it.
Anytime, man. Keep playing, man. Keep making that good music. Appreciate you.
All right, my guy. Peace out.
Peace.
Yeah, 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 yeah. I've been super proud.